So hi everyone, and it's great having you here today. Our first webinar for January 2021. Today is Wednesday, January 28th, and I welcome our guest speakers, Michael Mcdonald and Matt Cool. It's great to have you here today. I'm going to start by introducing Matt and Michael, and then give the floor to Michael to start a presentation. So Michael McDonald, with combined 20 years of studying and teaching foreign languages, he runs the Gold Lotus Consultancy to support schools and businesses improve the way they develop English as a foreign language, cultural understanding, and digital literacy using virtual reality. Michael is working on a number of projects relating to English language learning in VR with schools and universities. One such project, VR for English and Future Skills, supports students in creating their own WebXR experiences to connect them to students around the world in real-time collaborative environments in a virtual cultural linguistic exchange program. Matt Cole is a web generalist focused on VR design and development and frequently contracts in e-learning at mattcool.tech and is working closely with Michael to create accessible immersive learning experiences for foreign language learning. Thank you for coming here today. And Michael, floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the introduction, Amania. Thank you very much for the opportunity to come back in 2021. So it couldn't have been that bad last year if you allowed me to get back in the room. My name's Michael McDonald. As Amania mentioned, I've been teaching foreign languages, English in particular, as a foreign language for the last 10 years. I'm in Italy. It's 10 p.m. here now. We've got a bleary-eyed Englishman in Italy. We've got a bleary-eyed American in Taiwan. Is that where you are, Matt?
That's right. Yeah, made it to Taiwan.
Hopefully we don't have any bleary-eyed New Yorkers by the end of this session. That's all I'm saying. But no, look, the plan today is to share a little bit about virtual reality. What is it? How could it help you in your teaching of English as a foreign language? And just to basically plant those seeds, give you something to think about, something a bit different maybe. And please stop me at any point in the presentation. I say presentation, I've got some slides, but it's very much hands-on.
Michael, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but we prefer to have all the questions in the Q&A, like maybe you can finish at 4:45 maybe, and then we can move to the, because last time we had, okay.
We had a lot of questions last time. Yes. I remember that. I enjoyed those. So let me share my screen. We'll just bring up the slides and then I'll pass the mic over to Matt to introduce himself. So where are the slides? Here we go. We're going to share. Can you see my slides, everybody?
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Well, I said last year it was a new chapter for education and innovation. It's part 2 now. And this is Matt. He's on the first slide here. Matt, tell us a little bit more about what you're working on at the moment then.
Sure. So right now I've been just building out these web VR experiences, which we'll explain more about later. This is an example of something I built recently. I was commissioned to build an art gallery, and you can see that's the bottom is that GIF there is the gallery is running in a web page. So anyone can just visit this and be part of this experience. It's social, you can join with other people and you can be in the gallery together, and then it links to the artist's social media. So I think there's a lot of opportunity, which is why we're excited to share some of this web VR stuff. I also work as a UX session lead at Udacity, and I have a session right after this meeting actually. So it's going to be a lot of Zoom for me this morning.
Excellent. Good. Yeah. So Matt and I connected about a good few months ago, probably about 6-9 months ago. I used a few of his scenes that he created in Mozilla Hubs, and we'll get into that a bit later, but in my language lessons. And since then, we've just been working on a little project to kind of help people scaffold their understanding of film vocabulary and language associated with cinema. We'll show you a little bit of that as well later today, in addition to getting your hands dirty and creating something yourselves that you can show your friends and family after this meeting. As Emily says, I've been teaching English for 10 years. 5 years of that has been with VR. Started with the Google Cardboard. If anybody had that, then we've come on leaps and bounds since then. And here's an Oculus Quest with 6 degrees of glorious freedom, which we're going to touch on in a moment. And yes, I live in Italy, and I did just have pizza for dinner. So there we go. Session overview, introduction. What is VR? Then we're going to get into Web XR or Web VR. And its potential within education. I think that's a really exciting development we're seeing at the moment. And then, as I said, how to create your own experiences using hubs. But Matt, do you want to kick off? You're the expert with the tech here. Tell us a little bit about VR, AR, and MR.
Sure. Yeah. So that Web XR, what are all these terminologies, right? So XR just encompasses everything related to mainly these three things. VR, which is like everything's digital, you're completely immersed in the world. There's AR, which is like if you've seen that Pokemon Go, that's kind of a good example of AR, where we have just digital information overlaid in the real world. And then there's mixed reality or merged reality, more commonly mixed reality. So all these things, when we say Web XR, we're just saying extended these technologies that extend reality, right? And it happens in the web.
Absolutely, yeah. So in other words, browser-based, you fire up a tab in your internet browser, and as Matt said, it could be on your mobile device, it could be on a laptop or PC, but also in your VR headset. So we'll get onto this in a moment, but WebXR is you load up a browser in your VR headset or your smartphone, and you can effectively jump into, a kind of a responsive website, a page where you can effectively walk around and interact with people in real time. So don't worry. You're going to see examples of that in a moment. But coming back a few steps before we look at, some of the features of WebXR is cost and physical location. I covered this last year in September when we last met. Of course, that's how I, see the two major barriers to learning a foreign language, whatever language it is. It costs you money and it's difficult to get there often. So, that's obvious, but just to focus our minds, this is where it all began for me personally. Google Cardboard, you put your smartphone in the front of that and you can get a kind of a 360-degree look at some videos. YouTube app has some interesting ones and also some panoramas and stuff. Since then, as I mentioned, Oculus, now owned by Mr. Zuckerberg, Facebook. I don't know how much they spent for that, but it was a huge amount of money. You've got 6 degrees of freedom. So if this is a new term for you, what that effectively means is that if you take a step in the real world in your flat or apartment, you will also take a step in the kind of virtual world as well. You can look under tables, behind trees, and it's what they would call kind of true VR, I suppose. The step previous to that would be 3DOF or 3 degrees of freedom, where you can kind of look up, down, left, right. You can move with a controller, but you kind of have less of a vivid experience, if you like, a little bit more limited, less realistic. But these are some of the platforms that you might want to bear in mind when considering virtual reality within not just, to be honest, not just teaching English, but connecting with people, full stop, engage, room in alt space. The top one based in Ireland, the other one in Seattle, and AltSpace, now owned by Microsoft somewhere in the United States. Check those platforms out. You effectively embody an avatar. You can meet people anywhere in the world. You can set up classes. You can teach people anything you like. There's people on there teaching you how to make a nice cup of tea, history. You can tour the Acropolis in Greece. And it's some of the platforms that I've been using recently or the last few years to teach English. This is a video, fingers crossed it plays, me on Mars with an Italian man talking about moon buggies. I remember, I need to share the audio maybe. You hang on. I remember that from last time. Share computer sounds. Let's go.
Call this a buggy. It's called the Red Planet, Mars, and it's space travel is the future, isn't it? We've explored most of planet Earth, but maybe the future in maybe 10 or 20 years is that we can have the opportunity to travel to Mars. And would you like to do that?
No, I prefer...
No, he'd prefer something else. But anyway, that gives you a quick flavour of me in real time talking to somebody in a different context. And some of the research, as we already know, is just one of the papers from quite a long time ago, but effectively people who physically visited a country, English in particular, to build their language skills on exchange in physical, I'll underline that word again, they showed demonstrable improvements with their speaking and listening skills. Why? Because they had availability of native speakers around them, enhanced motivation for learning new words, i.e. they were in a bar, a cafe, and they actually needed the language, and also a large number of possible settings in which to practice with new vocabulary. So that's basically my premise, why I keep running with this technology. At the moment, I can't really see a better way of potentially supporting people in how they learn a foreign language. I'm not saying it's the be all and end all, but Matt, coming to you, what do you think? I mean, you've seen some changes. Where did VR start for you, and where do you think VR really kind of fills the gap in terms of what language learners might need, do you think?
Yeah, I'm really late to the game
in
VR.
In VR.
Oh, sorry. I think you're still sharing. You're still sharing. Getting some feedback on the audio.
1 sec. Yeah.
But yeah, VR has been around for a long time now. But I think what's made it exciting for me and why I jumped in is because pretty much because of this. So the Oculus Quest has made it, and sort of the technologies that have been evolving the past 5 years. Things are becoming, the price points coming down, and the quality's going up. So that makes it very exciting for me. And the first time I tried it was back in, I think, 2015, like the high quality kind of consumer end VR experience. And from there, I've been pretty hooked, and I feel like it's going to really change the world. But we still have a long way to go. And there's still a lot of things to work out, especially on the web.
That's right. Yeah. And, this webinar is not about us with a bit more experience maybe than some of the attendees saying, oh, you should use this and this is going to answer all of your problems. Absolutely not. Myself as a language teacher, what I am seeing is number one, it's engaging people to talk more. When you are immersed in these kind of virtual spaces, there's nowhere to hide. The tendency, of course, well, typically in a traditional classroom, you're going to spend maybe 5-10 minutes doing a writing activity. It's going to be hopefully a bit of silence if they behave themselves, the students, and then you're going to do some corrections. But really in VR, it's a bit difficult to kind of do that. So you're almost forced to talk, which isn't a problem for me, as you've seen already. But for some of the students, they need to be pushed. If you don't talk, you can't learn, as I always say. So there's a bit of research behind really the premise as to why I'm kind of running with this at the moment. Now, next slide. Another video. Let me share the audio. This is on a different platform. So the last video was on Engage. That's by a company in Ireland, Immersive VR Education. This one is Rumi in Seattle by Doghead Simulations. Have I lost you yet? Good. Let's share the audio.
Oh, yeah.
Bring it up.
Nice. Oh, there. Oh. Oh.
So let's jump on the tube.
Let's go.
So hold on tight, everybody, because it's moving quite fast. What do you think is the advantage of a tube versus a bus?
Right, you get the idea. London Underground, true story. My father's actually a London Underground tube driver, and I'm desperately trying to get him a VR headset so we can do like a kind of a VR extravaganza where we ask him all these kind of crazy questions about his interesting job. But yeah, this is a tube train, and as you can see, these are students. They're in Norway, I'm in Italy, and which is interactive real time, and it's just a great way. Again, the C word context, so important, and just gets them kind of learning some vocabulary. Now, let's move on. Accessibility. So now we're getting into the kind of the core of why we're here today, and hopefully unleash you guys and girls on the this technology and see what you can come up with. Accessibility is key. Most people in the world can't afford the hardware from Oculus, despite the falling costs, etc. COVID, it's shut schools. Where I'm in Italy at the moment, we've had to shut the school and we can't get onto the VR headset. So this is where it's all going. It's what gets me out of bed in the morning. I know it's what gets me out of bed in the morning. It's how can we get more people accessing this technology to, of course, benefit their learning, but teaching as well. And also, just try and contribute to the kind of knowledge base of education in general and see where we can take it. So At the end, I'd be interested to hear any feedback or questions or constructive criticism. Don't hold back. Mozilla Hubs. You might know Mozilla Firefox. Tell us a little bit more about Hubs, Matt. What is it?
Sure.
What can you
Sure.
do?
Yeah. So absolutely. So Hubs is. Oh, sorry. I think I'm still getting the audio. So Hubs is Mozilla's VR open source sort of web platform. And it just allows you to easily create these VR experiences and turn them into a link that you can send anyone and they can access on their phones, their tablets, and their computers. And I've been part of the Hubs community now for almost a year. And it's just now, we just updated we did a big UI refresh over there. The Hubs team did, and now I think it's just starting to build some pretty good momentum. And yeah, I'm just really excited about all the possibilities with the platform. It just makes things so much easier to have social VR in your web browser right away.
Yeah, sure. What you're looking at there on the slide, everybody, is spoke. I'm an English teacher. Past simple tense of speak. It spoke. That's how you spell it. And that is the platform. Very intuitive. Very kind of shallow learning curve. You can create your own VR scenes. Well, I need to run through these slides because we need to get you working on this. So let me fly through these. Just one of the little places I created. It's a school where you learn vocabulary at the bottom, and you go and apply it up on the roof terrace before going somewhere else. If you don't know this community, go and check it out. There's somebody lurking in the attendees there. It's Ekaterina. She's in Russia. I know, I can see you, Katerina. She is part of this community as well. If you don't know about educatorsinvr.com, go and check them out. We're not just talking about languages, we're talking about STEM, we're talking about diversity, everything under the education banner. Go and check them out. My name's Michael. There's the email address. I'm sure Amani will share these details later if you want to get in touch with me. And there is Matt's Twitter and website. Go and check his work out. Matt, I think the time has arrived. So what we need, let me move the slides out of the way. In hindsight, probably should have prepared everybody with this. However, what would be good is if you need to go to Mozilla Hubs, and how should we do this, Matt? Do you think we should get people register on Hubs? You know it better than me, or should we just start sharing our screen? I think it's simple to sign up, isn't it?
It's pretty simple. Yeah, just the email unit and email address, and then you'll have a link sent to your email, and you just click the link, and you're done. Okay. So yeah, if you'd like to sign up now, that'd be great, and we could please feel free to follow along. Is it okay? Do you think we should just jump into Spoke?
Yeah, why not? I tell you what, so just leave that page up there for 2 seconds. So everybody, if you want to have a look at that URL, if you want to join along with us and actually do it like in real time, great. There's the link. It's hubs.mozilla.com/spoke, or just Google Mozilla Hubs and sign up. You won't need to put many details in. I think it's just an email address, and that's about it. So there's the URL. Give you a few more seconds. If you don't want to join along with us, no problem. Matt is going to be sharing his screen, or I can as well. Matt, are you happy to share your screen?
Yes. And let me actually set up, just in case for those of you that want to follow along, there's a model you can download. Let me get you that link real quick. And all right, so there's the model if you'd like to follow along. And then I'm going to share my screen.
When this model, Matt, so tell us about this, because I saw this a couple of days ago. Why would someone need to download this if they wanted? What are these models?
Sure. So you'll notice this is a GLB file, and GLB is just like JPEG or PDF, but this is for 3D, right? So if you have a 3D object, we use it's called GLTF, but GLB is the compressed version, right? So just the thing to know is that you want a GLB for working with web and 3D objects.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right, should we jump right in?
Just to
Oh, yeah,
explain
please.
it more, so this file is the 3D file that you're gonna upload it to the scene, right? Yes.
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 Yeah. So this will be, this
Okay.
will serve as, for our example, exactly the basis for our scene.
Yes.
So I'm just going to click on get started.
I can't see your screen, or is that just
Oh.
me?
Yeah, I can't. I also can't see it.
Okay,
So,
let's troubleshoot this real quick. So I'm going to hit stop share.
Okay. And Jasmine's left a juicy comment there in the section. Google is leaving Google Expeditions. We'll come to that in half an hour. And Polly, just to rub
Are you able
to?
Sorry, are you able to see the screen now?
No, it says you have started screen sharing, but nothing.
Yeah, at my end it says I'm screen sharing. Is there? I know there's an option to allow multiple participants to screen share.
okay. Yeah, it's on.
We have that on,
enabled,
right?
Yeah.
Because you did actually. I saw your screen earlier when you showed the URL for Hubs.
Okay, let's see. Yeah, I have a rock and some trees. Yes, that's the one. Let's see. All right, anything?
No, same message. Make sure I'm not doing anything wrong. I don't think so. Maybe you want to join us and come back. I don't know if that would help. I'm clutching at straws now.
Yeah, the old rejoin. I'll give it a try.
Yeah.
All right, be right back, everybody.
Okay.
Michael will have some jokes for you while I come back.
No, this is time to learn. And Jasmine just mentioned I have a rock and some trees. Yeah, they leave low poly teaching scene. There's lots of kind of really nice, simple assets to get your teeth into with Hubs. And as you mentioned, Jasmine, Polly is going. Right, Matt's back. Might have to make him co-host again.
Yeah, I'm doing that.
There we go. You're muted, Matt.
All right, do we have it?
Yeah.
Yay. All right. Okay. So yeah, all I did was I hit get started, and then you have your list of projects, right? So we'll hit new project. And let's start with a new empty project. All right, so we get this this crater scene, and they'll give you, I'm just gonna zoom out by pinching on my trackpad, and they'll give you this crater, but we're just gonna select that by clicking on it, and then we're just gonna zap it away because we won't need the crater for this. And all I'm gonna do to load my scene in is I'm just gonna take that model and I'm gonna drag it into the elements down below here. We have a little assets panel down here, and then it will upload. And I'm just gonna bring this panel up so that I can see, and you can see all my different assets and different versions of the same thing, pretty much, that I've been things that I've been working on. And I did doctor this up a little bit. This comes from Mr. Wagner, who I assume is a teacher as well, from Sketchfab. But
Matt, I'm sorry, I just have to stop you here just to make sure that everyone is on track. So how did you upload it? So is there another way like you click upload and then you go to the file and then you upload it as well, right?
You could do that. Yes. So
Okay.
there's several ways you could go about uploading.
Yes.
You can
Yeah.
use upload right here.
Hmm.
I just dragged the file. Yeah, it might have not been clear because of the screen share. So thank you for clarifying that. I just dragged the file directly onto the window, and there's a couple. If you drag it into this window, the viewport window, one thing you might encounter is it'll be scaled weirdly, or it'll be in a different position. So you can see here down in the properties tab down here, there's a scale, and I know there's a lot here, for just starting out, but you want to make the scale, bring the scale to 1 if you did it that way, and that will get your scale right. But
jumping in there, sorry, mate. The cursor's not moving for me. It's the finger is hovered over the low poly teaching scene. Is that the same for everybody else?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Screen sharing on Zoom. But so you can the way I would suggest doing it is just dragging the model into the assets panel, which is that lower that panel below the viewport. And this way you can just right click on the object and you can hit place object at origin. Can you see the drop down there?
Place origin. Yeah, so it's not actually moved your little hands there for about a minute or two, so possibly it's
okay.
But
yeah, it's just delayed.
But yeah, like in summary, as you said, you can kind of drag it into the scene or just kind of go to file upload. Pretty intuitive though. Okay, maybe you want to refresh that, Matt. It might wake your cursor up.
Okay. Let's do a reload.
If not, plan B, I'll share it and you can guide me and everybody else through it. But as plan B, I'm happy to run with yours for a while.
All right. Are we seeing the our glorious crater?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
Nothing.
Maybe you could try screen sharing and I'll navigate since I think we have like 15 minutes, right?
No, this is an hour.
Okay.
Yeah, we can have questions later.
Sorry, like another 20 minutes. Okay.
Oh, sure.
Let me share screen.
Sorry, folks. This is actually the rule whenever you do a tech demo. It's supposed to go horribly wrong. So this is actually aligned with our expectations for tech demos.
Congratulations. Can anybody see my screen?
Yeah. Yes.
Good. So we're going to do what Matt did. We're going to kill the creator if it decides to go away. Oh, hang on. There it is.
There you go.
Right. Now I need to bring in the model. So I'm going to go to Zoom. I need to download that. Messages, chat. There it is. Downloaded. We're going to make the window a bit smaller. This is one of the ways you could do it, I suppose. I'm just dragging it into this panel, Matt. Okay. 6%. There we go. So
beautiful.
There it is. Now, talk to us a bit more about this. What am I doing now? Because it's just now. There it is.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. So now the position, you can see in the position and the properties that we're not really at that world origin. So if you take the X and the Z down to 0, then we can be sure that the model is positioned right in the center of the world.
That's the position. So I've just changed that there to 0. Okay.
Beautiful. So then the next thing we should look at is the spawn point, which is this is where the person that comes into your scene is going to start. So right now the spawn point is right on top of the desk, right? So maybe we don't want them to spawn on top of a desk, right? That might be a little awkward. So Michael can adjust the position of the spawn point. so that it's in a more appropriate place.
Yeah, that's right. And you can do that by just kind of left clicking, holding down onto the X and pulling left or right, or you can just kind of choose a number and, you know, tweak it like that. So there we go. There's 3. You can go up, down, left or right, or you can actually just use the, what do you call these arrows? What's the technical word? Oh, my brain's gone.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd call them like
colored arrows.
Yeah, it's too early, and late for us. But yeah, and actually the method Michael used is what I prefer too. Is just you can drag or just set the numbers yourself there with the coordinates, and just play with those until you get your desired result. I think that's good. Right. So now we have our spawn point. And if this was all we needed, then we could hit publish to hubs. And when you publish it, it's actually not it's not being available. It's not being published publicly. You can make it so that it's published publicly. But what this is going to give you, and maybe we can just should we just try this just so we can get the scene out there? And then you'll want to name it, name your project and all that. And what this is going to give you is a link that lets people join your scene. So it's going to generate a screenshot for you. And then you'll, save and publish. All right. And then this is really important. So this is going to give you, this is their performance check. And this is going to tell you about like a little bit about your scene. So right now we're all in the green. This is pretty good so this should run really well on mobile devices. And we don't have to worry too much about the performance. When you start to get up into medium and high, then you could have issues on mobile.
So we
publish there. And there we go. So now we have, so if that link to view the scene will allow you to create a room. And then once Michael creates the room, he can take that link and send it to whoever he'd like, and those people can join the room.
Exactly. And if you were on a VR headset now, Matt, you'd be clicking that button, wouldn't you, in the middle, the purple one?
You could actually just on a VR headset, if you're in the like Oculus browser, for example, you would just join the room normally. But you could, if you were using the browser on your desktop, then yes, you would click that.
Yeah. And for the eagle-eyed among you, Gorgeous Chocolate Venture is the name given to this. These are auto-populated, so you can change them. You make sure your microphone's turned on, of course. We won't bother with this one, but so people can hear you. You can mute it if you like. We're entering. And there you go. So this is the spawn point, Matt, that we've landed on. If people remember, we adjusted it just to the in front of the table. So luckily we did. So you kind of don't land looking at a wall or a rock. So what are the controls then? How do we operate this thing?
Right. So to move around, we can use WASD. And we may have some issues moving because we forgot to make a nav mesh. But how's that? Is that working out for you?
Yeah, so the alternative, what you can do is just hold down your right button on your mouse, hold it down, you get this green circle, and then it plonks you in the different positions. So you've got a few choices, everybody. If you do have sometimes problems with the floor level, you can always use your mouse to jump around. Okay, should we go back to Spoke then? So that's basically that's how easy it is. And as Matt said, you just share this link, and I think you can. They've changed this, haven't they? You can also create a different name there, and etc. Back in Spoke, Matt, what else can we do in here?
Yeah, so let's take a look at adding a nav mesh so that we can move around better. So if you look at the hierarchy panel, there's the floor plan. And we're just going to click on, if you go into the floor plan properties, so there's all kinds of things you can adjust with that, but there's a button that will do it automatically for you. And if you hit regenerate, it's going to look at the model and it's going to say, okay, we think that this is a floor. So all this blue area now is what Spoke thinks is a floor. So it did a pretty good job. So that yellow area is places where it thinks that there's something there that you'll collide into. So this is important so that the avatars know where they can walk and where they can't walk, right? So this is a pretty easy case because it looks like it worked out pretty nice. You could see the yellow areas around the desk, so you can't walk over the desk, right? So that looks like it worked pretty nice. So pretty happy with that. So that's one thing we forgot to do before we exported. But let's look real quick at, let's say we want to add something to this scene, right? So in the assets panel, down in the, I believe it is the architecture. No, is there more to that assets panel?
Let's pull that up a little bit. No, that's where it ends.
Oh, that's it. Okay, maybe it's in. Check in Sketchfab.
Okay.
And go to collections in the tags. Yeah, there they are. Okay, so here's some scene. You can look at the hub scene props. So these are just curated collections of different objects that you can just throw into the scene. Actually, there's some fun ones in the recommended props collection. Or sorry, maybe it's the Clubhouse content. Anyway, these collections are great. So this is in the Sketchfab assets. Yeah, Playground, Wizards Library. Yeah. So those have some animations. Those are kind of fun. The Mozilla Playground. There's like a target. Yeah. So to add one of those, you can use the same process we used before, which is right-clicking and placing at origin, or you can just drag it into wherever you'd like. And it should be close. So there's our animated target. So it's loading up right now.
So we might have to bring that up a little bit. And it's
try
over there.
That's yeah. Okay, that's the origin. Try the try another target. The one, the target 2.
Okay.
Yeah. So sometimes with these models, there it is. Sometimes with yeah, sometimes with these models, they have to be set up in a certain way to work well. So you may have some issues with like the model's origin has to be in the center for it to recognize in Spoke that it's also in the center. So they're a little finicky sometimes, but this one has the proper origin setup. So we're all good with this one. So yeah, you can add that. And then to publish this, we would just click publish again. And then we would see all the updates we made with the nav mesh. We updated the nav mesh and then we added the target. And again, we're just using assets from the Sketchfab panel in the collections, and that's curated by the Hubs team.
Great. So before we continue with some of the other features, I think it's probably a good time to kind of stop and breathe and look at how this might be adapted to, language learners in particular, and how some of these teachers that are with us today might want to use it in their classroom. Now, one of the projects that I'm working on that Amelie mentioned at the top of the meeting was VR for English and Future Skills. And what I did was get the students, the first question of lesson number 1 back in October when they opened the schools again was, how would you attract people to your region here in southern Italy for tourism? Because it's a big part of the economy here. And from that gave birth to a whole number of kind of things about transport infrastructure, better museums, art galleries, beaches, etc. And we allocated, or students selected the topics that they wanted to talk about and promote to the world. And they just used Spoke. You can see it's just kind of drag and drop. A lot of that is going on with Spoke. Matt's going to cover some other features soon, but I've seen some great, creations with some of the language learners, just, giving them kind of free rein on this and, give them a topic, maybe help them, of course, scaffold with some of the vocabulary. I've seen some good work from the students. So that's what I love about hubs. It's creative. It's not just consuming the content, you get them hands on as well. So we've just published this somewhere. There it is. And you can see the target in the distance. So we'll load that up. What else can we show them, Matt?
Yeah, I think, well, are you guys, how are you feeling so far? Is it too much or is it?
Keep an eye on the comments, chat. Someone's disappeared, no problem, but we don't have anybody screaming for help. So it seems to be going okay. Can we join yours? Is a question from Sheila. Yes, you can, and practice. We've got something a bit more relevant, I think, for language learning to show you, and that's the cinema, Matt. We could let them loose in that.
I think that's a great idea. Let's show them the cinema that we've been working on.
Yeah.
And it'd be great if everybody can get in there, because that would be really fun to test and just to see everybody moving around in there.
Yes. So what we've got, this is a room that we've been working on, and I'm going to send the link now. So this is what you do. If you create your own space, you just go to the URL, you cut it or you copy it, and then I'm going to go to the chat, share it with everybody. And I'll warn you, please mute your microphone when you go in there. I mean, the Hubs microphone. Make sure you're muted in Hubs, because if you don't, you're going to hear, it's going to be like stepping into the Twilight Zone with all these voices. There you go. Yeah. There's the link. Click on that. If you need any help, leave a comment in the chat. But I'm going to do that as well. So you click Join Room. Microphone's muted, enter room. And if you look around, they're entering the lobby.
Maybe I'll jump in VR just to.
Yeah.
Could be fun.
Show off. Right. Where are they? There's a lot of people joining the lobby. Everybody's in the lobby. I think they may be changing their avatars or something like that.
Yeah. I'll jump in the ticket booth, maybe.
Yeah. Are you in? Let me know when you're in there, Matt, because I can't see anybody.
Yeah, still loading up.
Okay, great. It's not just me then. Right, here they are trickling through. We've got ducks, we've got all sorts here, but we've got an orange panda. Well, there's Gingery. Good. So this is the spawn point. I'll say that again when other people arrive, but this is what we set up. You saw the spawn point before, and this is where we set it. You're standing in front of the instruction boards. Amani's in the house, Hardhead as well. Victoria, welcome. Okay. I don't know how many people in total. There's 11 in total. Most of them seem to be here. Eva's here as well. So the spawn point, welcome to, we've got some instructions as you land in the room and just showing you some navigation. So, it's basic, but it saves you a few minutes with the classes, putting stuff like that in. And this was created by us to talk about the IELTS examination, which I'm sure you're familiar with. Many people need the IELTS exam, particularly about a band 7 to study in a university in Europe, for example, or around the world, quite frankly. And this the structure of this space, okay, you're in the cinema room itself, the theatre. The idea is, you can see by the arrows, when you spawn, you're basically just kind of understanding a bit more deeply how to approach your preparation for the speaking parts of the IELTS test in order, hopefully, to get your band 7. You move on, you've got a purple thing here, and we've just kind of scattered it with some idioms that you might need to reach the band 7, some good vocabulary, good old-fashioned bit of scaffolding, just kind of feeding the language into them in a bit more of a creative way. They can explore the cinema. We walk past the curtain. If I'm running ahead, please stop me, but I'm looking at the clock. We need to go on. So a few facts. You've got some good vocabulary highlighted there on the boards. We walk around, some nice seats, some tips on how to get the IELTS band 7 with the marking criteria. And then you move past the ticket booth that Matt is hanging around. We'll look at him in a moment. You've got some MP3 audio files that we've added to test your pronunciation. And Matt has come up with this awesome, wonderful exercise where it's just, kind of word order, making sure you are applying the vocabulary that you used in the previous room in the correct fashion. And then on the final wall that I'm looking at here, the smaller wall, you've just got some synonyms for some classic vocabulary items. Of course, everybody says the story, but if you say plot, you might get a better mark. So that's the rationale behind this space. And the ticket booth as well is a great way to, maybe build out the language for buying and ordering tickets. And Matt, you've got your avatar there, this is something similar to your real face. How did you do that?
It's close. Yes, this is my pre-2020 appearance.
Where it took its toll.
Yeah, the year took its toll, yes.
Okay. So, you can actually you can take photos in here. Have a click around, people. Click on you've got the chat there, you've got React, you've got some reactions. Always good for the feedback in class to gauge what the students are thinking. You've got also Sketchfab objects you can bring in, so 3D models, and it's really intuitive. You just search, you can bring anything in. Right, they're going crazy with the hearts there. Right, a piece of advice for you before we open up the floor to some questions and maybe jump back to Spoke for another 2 minutes is when designing these spaces, be mindful about, of course, the people who are going to be accessing it. What do I mean by that? You've got teenagers and they will want to click stuff, even the adults I can see. And make sure that you don't make the space too big, maybe, if it's their first time, because I promise you, you'll lose them. I lost 15 Vietnamese teenagers in a massive building because I made it too big. They were upstairs, they were in the basement. I couldn't control them. So just think about that as well from a kind of a design perspective. Matt, are there any other comments you could make with regards to the kind of practicalities of educating in a space like this?
Yeah, so there's also a pen tool that's available here. But there's all kinds of stuff that I think, like with immersive education, the startup that I'm working at, that we're building on top of hubs that I think is handy for education, like the ability to erase all the drawings in the room because we're testing with middle school students. So we realized it became really important that we're able to also, the teachers are able to have control over certain elements like erasing all the drawings and things like that. But yeah, so I think there's still a long ways to go in terms of teaching tools and tools for educators in this space. But it's all there. The bones are there. It's just about kind of building onto the structure.
Absolutely. So you've seen some audio files. We've got some exercises here, and I didn't do that, but you can actually click on these synonyms and drag and drop them into the location that you think is best according to your understanding, hopefully, of what you've learned in the lesson. We're going to jump back to Spoke for 2 minutes, and then we'll pass the mic over to Amani, who's going to maybe floor some questions. Oh, yes. She has. So I'm going to go back to Spoke now. That's my professional voice there. Okay. Right. Let's go back to Spoke. Here we are. How did we add the audio? You just go to elements on the left. And it's pretty self-explanatory. You've got images you can add, JPEGs. I think you can do GIFs. You can put different spawn points. You can put videos in there. There's the audio file that I included in the cinema scene. So really, like, that's all you need, I think, for the first 5 hours of whatever class you want to be teaching with hubs, and see what your students can create. Why not? So I think that's about it. Matt, is there anything else that I've missed before we pass over to Amani?
Just one. I just would like to play this audio clip because you did such a good job with the voiceovers.
Okay.
All right. Yes. Did everybody hear that? Yes.
Sad ending.
It's great.
Good. Ends up is a beautiful expression for the students, by the way. That's why they should remember that. So end up plus the verb plus ing. Right, that's it. Amani, everything okay? Should we floor some questions if people have them?
Yeah, I think so. And I think you're doing a great job in what you're doing and basing that on pedagogy, like considering the audiences or considering the learners, because I've had some VR experiences like learning French, and sometimes I would get disappointed because I'm not in a classroom, or the immersive experience is not the one that actually improves my French. So I really see the hard work here that you're doing, and I think we should now like get some questions from our attendees. If you have any questions, please, you can start asking questions.
Well, I can see a few in there, and you've asked a good one, Emily, about the face, the avatar, I think you're referring to.
Yeah.
Engage is one of the platforms we mentioned before. It's that is not browser based. You can access it, I think, on an iPhone now, but effectively you're going to need a pretty decent laptop or VR headset to access that. They allow you to put your photograph, your real life photograph or your headshot on and stick it on the face of an avatar, which looks a bit scary. And my hairline is rather high up than it really is in real life. But I must say that it does add a lot of realism to it. And I'd be interested, maybe in today or future calls, if people actually think it's necessary about avatars. That's a whole other discussion. Is it necessary to have your real face on there? Who knows? But other questions, where are they? Monica, my 13-year-old is controlling mine, laugh out loud. Good. I hope they didn't graffiti on our cinema walls. That's all I can say. How can I erase? Asks Sheila.
So yeah, I think I'm doing the graffiti right now. I'm using my phone because my browser's out of date, but I drew something all over this, and I'm worried I messed it up.
We'll send you the bill later.
Yeah. Yeah, so they'll those drawings actually time out after a certain amount of time, and they'll just delete themselves. Yeah, you could also select them and delete them, but it's a little hard on mobile to do that. But yeah, no.
Unless it's the UNESCO World Heritage Site at the Colosseum with the Vietnamese children who were just scrawling all over that. It was shocking. But right, I can't see any more questions, which either means that we have covered everything or something else. But well, it's good timing. Is there a similar type of program that I could use with younger students? Is a question from Monica. Matt, any ideas? I mean, it depends how you frame it. In the sense that you could just, have a very, very kind of an audio file, and that's it, and guide them through without getting involved with the floor plans and stuff like that. So that's one suggestion. Matt, is there anything else
there's also room controls. So if, as a room owner, you can edit the permissions of the room. So if you wanted, for example, to not give, like, no one, you can't draw, you can't pin items, you can't bring items into the room. You could edit those permissions, which may be better for younger students. And like Michael was saying, a lot of it is